bonsoir or bonjour, whatever time it is where you are. We're just gonna see what happens. Open the mouth and see what comes out. Yeah. We do do we do dee. We do dee we do dee. We do do la dee dee do 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 da 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 dee. The doom 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 ba-doom da doom dee doom dee. Boom ba-doom ba-doom boom ba-ba-ba-da-dee dee ba-doom down ba-doom ba-doo da doo dee dee. We do dee dee dee. Yeah, you know, so when I was growing up, I used to just, my mom would put me in the closet. You know, like nowadays they call that like child abuse or something. My mom was really smart. She said, no, 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 it's not a closet. It's your studio. You go there and you can just do whatever you feel and whatever you want. And I said, wow, I got my own studio? Yes. And I said, my mama, well, how come you put all these coats in my studio? She said, oh, that's for sound. It helps the sound. It absorbs the sound for you. So it's very close and intimate. So I grew up working in a little small space, like just trying stuff. And I would listen to music and I would hear all the instruments more than I would hear anything else. Like bang, 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 or I would hear the bass and fweet, 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 you did, bit, fit, fweet. You know, if it was wah wah, so I heard all the instruments just like it was the singer. I heard more of the instruments than I actually heard the singer. Like it didn't matter what he was doing, what inspired him to sing. So when I sing, I hear all this other stuff, you know. So I don't know how to explain that to you, but maybe you can kind of hear it or feel it. Like what the hell was that instrument? You know, you'll know. 'Cause you're one pearl in a game of marbles. All the boys, baby, are crawling around, trying to thump you out. If they only knew, they never try to trade you. They just hold on, 'cause I pick you. I pick you, thank you, to share all the luck I plan to run into. All my hopes and my dreams are yours to share. If you really care, let's not worry about the time that we haven't spent together. You're the one pearl, and I pick you. Oh, 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 I've been watching me for a long, long time. Yeah, I think by now you would speak your mind, and yes, I know you say you're not that kind of a girl, and you ain't seen the world from over a wing. Doom, 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 ding. You're still searching for that perfect song to sing. Doom, booty ding, boy, loo ding, doo doo dee ding, boom, booty ding, boy, loo doo doo boom, boom, ding ding, boom, booty ding, boom. Boo doom 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 boom ding boy you down. If you were thinking to go star in the night, and I had one wish I'd pick you, yeah, only you. Dum dum dum. If you were thinking to flower in the field, and I was a bee, I'd pick you. Yeah, only you, just to sting you. I've been watching me for a long, long, long time, daddy. Yeah, I know you say you're cross my mind, and yes, I know you say you're not that kind of a girl. And you ain't seen the world from over a wing. You're still searching for that perfect song to sing. Doom, booty ding, 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 boom, booty ding, boy, loo, let loo, that ding, ding, boom, booty ding, bad loo, that ding, 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 da boom, ding, breathe, lead, loo, loo, doo, you ding, da, breathe, fitty, doo, doo, you do do we do Fred do that we do you do it ya do that we yeah. So there's saxophone, there's trumpet, there's bass, there's keys. Because when I was in my closet or my studio, I couldn't sing all the notes of the pianos, but I would try like. You know, I had to learn how I got to figure out how to do all the notes, and I didn't realize that you got to have more than one voice to do all the notes, but I tried anyway. So, you know, so I was a kid, so I just played in my little world and heard all the orchestras and all the big band parts. I didn't even know what that was yet, you know. I was learning how to create music with nothing but me and my friends, the Coats, in the closet, you know. So I would pick anything. Everything I was exposed to became music for me. Everything became something I could pick up and make music with it. I don't care if it was a jackhammer out in the front working on the road or a motorcycle for my heavy metal. You know, everything that surrounded me became music for me. And it was, you know, I remember one time when I landed for a concert and my equipment didn't make it. No drum, no nothing. I'm like, I don't care. Don't worry about it. Let's do this thing. You got my check? Let's do this. Okay. So I came on stage. I said, all right, you know, I'm the cook. I work in the kitchen, so I got pots and pans. I brought them on stage. And they played all the, you know, the pots and pans. And people to this day think, remember you were a cook at the restaurant at this, you know, and they really believe the story. It was not true, but they believe it. So let's just say it was true for those who really need to know the truth. But I went on stage and I said, okay, I got this. Come on. There's my band. So we had a hard time accepting what came natural. Yeah, we had a hard time staying with the plan. So we found the reasons why we couldn't work things out. Yeah. And now I know the reasons why. Please come back, please come back. I'm never gonna love again. Yeah. Please come back, please come back. I'm sure you feel the same as I do. Please don't leave me. I know it sounds like begging, but it's not. I adore you and I want you. You've always known I loved you from the start. Oh, 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 must have struck the wrong chord to remind you of another song. Must have sang the wrong key to make you hide your ears. I guess that I was scared cause you were leaving me. And now I know the reason why. Please come back, please come back. I'm never gonna love again. Hey. Please come back, please come back. I'm sure you feel the same as I do. Please don't leave me. I know it sounds like begging, but it's not. I adore you and I love you. You've always known that I love you from the start. Ooh, oh, 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 we do 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 do, we do 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 do, we do do, we do do do. Please come back. I'm never gonna love again. Please come back. Please come back. I'm sure you feel the same as I do. Please don't leave me. I know it sounds like begging, but it's not. I adore you and I want you. You've always known I love you from the start, from the start.
Yeah, man. Great place to pause. Wow, that's really cool. I love it, man. It makes me want to jump in and sing.
There you go. You should just jump in and sing.
That is so cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there's a bunch of people here on Facebook. I'm so happy that we actually accomplished getting together with VINX. VINX, I've known VINX for a long time, although we haven't been in super big contact, but I met him probably 21 years ago in LA. He had a wonderful hang. That was just such a incredible spot. And yeah, you're kind of, to me, you're kind of like a leader here. It was a leader of creativity and openness, and yeah. Hi, Vinks.
How you doing? It's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a minute. I try to stalk you and follow you as best as I can. Just short of getting that restraining order. That's my plan.
I didn't see you lurking, and there's another stalker of mine on here, so he's going to be jealous.
Oh, well, he can have it. He can take it.
Oh gosh, yeah, he's stalked me since like, oh gosh, I don't know, a long time.
Wow, well, it's
But
good to see you.
thank
I
you.
love,
You
I love
too.
that you're doing the show that you can give independent artists and jazz artists at least a semblance of a belonging, a home that we don't often find.
I thank you. I really enjoy it a lot. I thought at the beginning, how long am I going to do this? And I just thought, yeah, as long as I want to, as long as it feels good. And then I'll stop or whatever. Because I was doing it 6 days a week first for 9 months
Mm,
live, and then I decided, okay, I'm ready to go down to 4 days. But then I thought, no, maybe 3 days.
mm.
And so then I just put up the archives on the other 4 days so people can always check in and see something cool.
They
But
needed you
it's been
most.
really nice.
They needed you
Sorry?
during COVID. We needed you, and you were there for us. So that was great.
Yeah, yeah. And that's one thing that happened during COVID that was really nice, I thought. A lot of people, got into sharing stuff and creating stuff online. And I just think, wow, that is just so great, especially now, when the lunatics in the world are so present.
Mm.
Really nice to have this kind of thing to
Mm.
remind us of really what the quality of life is about.
Well, I appreciate you for being on that front line of our
Thanks,
craft.
Vince.
Everybody's not
You,
doing it.
that's true. Vince, you are hi everybody. I see you all saying hello, and I'm thankful. And Dan actually listed your credits and your discography, which we can look at too and talk about. But um, you're you are kind of this ever abundant creator of things. Looking at your website is, you know, incredible. In fact, I'll just show people, and then we can talk about whatever we want. But let me. Um, so you said you grew up in the closet, man.
Well, that doesn't sound right, but yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't
Uh,
exactly sound right, does it? Sorry.
mm,
But
but I understand. Yeah, I get it.
sorry, that was kind of weird. But anyway, this is so this is uh, I mean, there's so much to show. Okay, so first of all, there's about with photos and bios and more quotes and recent news.
Right.
There's the dates that you're doing. There's oh, it looks like you have the is this a workshop that's open for everybody?
Yes, that's a virtual workshop. I do my Berkeley classes there basically. So a lot of people
Oh,
come in. I try to find the artists within. Basically, I'm trying to teach musicians how to be artists, which is like teaching a construction worker how to be an architect. Just just because you can sling a hammer doesn't mean I trust the building that you're gonna make. The design of it anyway. So that's
So
what I was
every
teaching at
Sunday,
Berkeley.
so is it open for the general public or only for Berkeley students?
Not just Berkeley students. I mean, there's a tuition they pay. Uh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
There's a tuition they pay monthly, and they get a one-on-one with me, and then it's like $20 a session or something like some ridiculous price because most musicians, the ones that need it the most, can't really afford it. So, and then we have
So other,
scholarship programs and stuff. Yes, everybody's invited if they want to get involved.
okay, it's good to know.
It's poets, it's
Sundays,
all kind of creative people, and we combine the arts together because we're inspired by each other.
and this says 8 o'clock. Is that your time or our time?
That is my time. That's French time.
Okay, so VINX
For
lives in
you, that
France.
would be like, I don't know, was that 11 or something like that for you?
Something like that, 11 in the morning.
Right. I
That's
think
good to know. And then look at all these bands that he's involved with and videos. We have videos. There's a documentary, which I'm going to watch. Oh,
yeah.
what a cool name, Two Drink Minimum.
Oh,
VINX Live.
that show started because of COVID. No one can
Really?
go to concerts. They couldn't do anything. So
Yeah.
it was after my surgery. So I had to remember all my lyrics, and I had to try to figure out, okay, uh, so I was digging in my own vault to find out my music and bring it back the best I could. And I just shared it with everybody, and the numbers were great, and they just kept coming, and they were requesting things. And the best part was they were telling stories about how my music was somehow the soundtrack of something they did in college, or when they danced because their mom like listened to me, or it was all these amazing stories I was getting, and made me feel like, oh, I didn't, because that's worth more than money, when you know that you're a part of somebody's life. That's an extraordinary gift
Yeah.
to get.
Yeah, and I feel like I want to bring that out actually a little bit more in this conversation because that's when I think of you, that is how I feel that you have always been and always been focused on is helping people and bring out, you know, a deep part of themselves
Mm,
and connect with God and the life force and each other.
right,
Um,
right.
did you grow up thinking like that?
Yes, my father was a great singer. He was a crooner,
Hmm.
and you know, Billy Eckstine, Arthur Prysock. I mean, I'm talking old school, like the
Yeah, yeah,
crooners, where you
yeah.
just have to shut up and you just. He'd get everybody to be quiet so fast. It was like everyone else wanted cheers and applaud. He wanted you to go, and just every nuance counted. Everything you could hear was important, right?
Yeah.
And then my aunt was one of the original members of the Marvelettes in
Oh, oh,
Inkster,
wow.
Michigan. So my mom had 13 brothers and sisters, so I have all kind of musical tastes surrounding
Oh,
me, and there
yeah.
was no easy way out. So we would sit at a table and play a game, and you would sing a song, and if you sounded like anybody else, you get kicked out of that round. So I would sing and he goes, no, no,
Wow.
that's like Nancy Wilson and Stevie Wonder in that part. Did it? And he's like, "Oop, you're out, like, so we grew up learning how to disguise our, how do you say, our inspirations, I guess you could say, our influences. And
Interesting.
now when somebody tells me I sound like someone else, I get kind of defensive. Like, how dare you? Really? But I understand it's a compliment because they pick somebody that they like, but it took me a minute to do that. So it's my dad told me once I was in the closet, right? Okay. I was in my studio and my dad said, "Boy, what you doing in there?" I said, "Well, because I make these weird sounds all the time." So he probably thought, young boy, he just had to check, and see what I was doing. I says, "I'm trying to like sing. I want to be a great singer. I want to be like you and Beulah and everybody. I want to be a great singer." And he says, "Well, son, can you sing everything you can think? I said, I think so. He said, don't I dare, don't I take it, I don't I dare, yeah, I think I can sing everything I can think. He says, that's all the technique you need. I suggest maybe you should work on what you think. I said, what? Work on what I think. What does that mean if you're a kid? He said, you need to go listen to stuff you don't know. Go listen to things you don't like. Don't listen to stuff you like. You already know what that sounds like. So you should know what tuba singing sounds like. You should know like gamelan gongs. You should know, go out and find this stuff. You can't be a great chef if you don't know the available spices that you got to cook with.
Okay, well that. Sorry, you probably didn't hear me because I had my
Oh, I didn't
button.
hear a word you said. I saw your lips
I
moving.
didn't know. I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's okay. You didn't drool. There's nothing on your shirt. You're all good. It's all good. But he led me to know that the greatest thing I can do as a chef is really understand the ingredients and
Yeah.
really understand what's possible. What colors can I place on my palette before I go into my own imagination? And I put them in my system and it comes out and through my process and it comes out as me. That was my goal. And that's not an easy thing to do. You know, like we talk about, how do you sing a standard that everybody has heard? How could you possibly do that? And he told me, you treat the song, it's just a bed. That's all. It's just a bed. You decide how to decorate that bed. Depending on your mood, what you're trying to say, you decorate it that way. If you're babysitting the kids, suddenly that bed becomes a trampoline and they're in there doing that thing. So you take the good stuff off the bed. As if you're for a romantic moment, you know, you throw some flowers on it here and light a candle and you put the pretty pillows on it, da da da, you know, and then it's that. If you're sick, you curl up, you get an extra, you know, you get an extra duvet and a heavier blanket or whatever, and you just want to be left alone and just in the warmth of it. The bed is the same. The bed has not changed. What you do with it determines what you have to say, what the story is, what the necessity of that song is. He said, treat it like a bed. It's the same bed for everyone.
Hmm. It's
And it
really
made
nice.
sense later. I said, oh,
Yeah, it's very understandable like that, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's beautiful. Um, I'm sorry. I was just reading that this is so interesting. My friend said you are this is really a veer off of what you were talking about, but a world-class triple jumper.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yes.
that's very different. In fact, in 1980, he posted the second best jump in the world, but the
Yeah.
United States boycotted the Moscow Olympics, and after an injury in the '84 Olympic trials in LA,
I just
Vinx
stayed.
embarked on his musical career as a vocalist and percussionist. How
Hmm.
interesting.
Well, it's more complicated than that. I mean, but it's close.
Well, yeah, that's
It's
kind of
close.
in a
The
nutshell, isn't
Russians
it?
were in Afghanistan, so how dare us go to Moscow to be in the Olympics? Because how is it possible that somebody could be in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah.
So, but in hindsight, blah blah blah. But in 1978 was my first professional opportunity, and that was with Taj Mahal. You know,
Mm.
yeah,
And
Montreux Jazz Festival.
did you sing or play percussion or
I was a
both?
percussionist. They didn't. He didn't know I could sing. I was just
Yeah.
playing. I was playing percussion, and Taj said, "You man, come on and be in my show tonight at Montreux Jazz Festival." And I didn't know who Taj Mahal was. I thought it was a building. You know, I thought it was in India somewhere. I was like, who's Taj Mahal? That's a black guy. What the hell? You know. So I go to sound check, and I thought, okay, you know what? I'm in college. What do I know? Let me do what seems reasonable. So I said, Mr. Mahal,
Mahal, Mr. Mahal.
what would you like me to play? It seemed reasonable, right? Because I didn't know his music. I didn't know anything about this guy. And he says, I got you here because I like what you play. So if you play what you want, I get what I want. I said, I can play anything? He said, as long as it doesn't suck. I'm like, wow. Okay. So this is the first guy who gave me permission to be an artist. He said, you do what you want to do. And that's exactly what I got you here for, because you are yourself. I can't get you from anybody else. So I need you to be you. I'm not going to ask you to be somebody else. That would be rude. That would be like having Aretha Franklin come in and goes, yeah, 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 that's good, Miss Franklin. That's good. Could you sing a bit more like Barbara Streisand on this? That
Right,
would
right.
never happen, right? So he gave me
Right, right.
immediate says, I need you to be as you as possible. If you don't know what to play, that means you don't want to play anything. If I ask you a question, then you answer. You don't just give me mumble jumble thoughts when I didn't ask you anything. That's not a conversation. Unless
Yeah.
I'm leading the conversation, then you just be fluent in the language of music, and I trust that you're going to be in the right place, saying the right things at the right time. I
Yeah.
thought that was like that changed my whole career, whole life, my whole way of thinking.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
reminded me what
And
my
you
dad would tell me. He said, "Don't go on stage and play the music." I'm like, "What? What? What do you mean?" He says, "Don't go on stage and play the music. Go on stage and make the music. Be there in that moment. Don't just play what you rehearsed and memorized, because that means you're not present with what's going on now. That's like you trying to remember what you're going to say to this woman you've never met on the street. And you walk up to her, goes, "Excuse me, I'm trying to find the closest path to Cleveland, Ohio." And she's like, "What the hell are you talking about?" But I rehearsed it. I can say it well. So my whole family was anti that, like you don't like we were percussionists, and some of these guys would be like, playing this like wee, he's playing this thing that he rehearsed in his house, is like wretched guitar solo, and I'm like, dude, it's a ballad. It's a ballad. He'd already decided what he was gonna audition. So I said, no, 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 come on, you can't answer the question until somebody asks you. It's that simple.
That's awesome. I don't think a lot of families are like that, actually.
Mm.
Maybe some people like us who would have had families, we would do that, but it's you don't hear about that very much.
Mm.
You hear about support, but not that kind of like, um, lead into very uniqueness,
Mm.
and presence, because that is really what we're all striving for all the time, right? I mean,
Right.
even that
Right.
the effortless mastery. I was so impressed when I heard that Berkeley created the effortless mastery department. I was impressed, I
Mm.
have to say, and it's I do feel, because I'm the the glass half full kind of person. So I like to think about that a lot of action in this way of presence, being in the moment, responding, creating
Mm.
is more and more and more, and which is really it's it's the only thing there is, really, isn't it?
Mm.
It's just,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's it. That's it.
Well, we have to be fluent in the language, because I come from that school that we all can have a great vocabulary, but that great vocabulary is useless if you have nothing to say.
Yeah,
You can't sing a life unless you live it. So all the
yeah,
dues you paid and all the stuff you went through as a human, everyone who had something to say to you that you remember goes into your catalog of experiences, your memories, and you can draw from that as you need it. You paid the dues for it, so if we don't use it as an artist, then we paid somebody else. So I collect my dues. I try to remember every nuance the best I can. There's a lot of
mm,
beautiful gifts of knowledge with just, coins that fell into my sofa of life,
yeah.
in between the
Speaking
cushions.
of speaking of heavy dues, so you told me right before we started that you had brain operations
Mm.
in recent years. Um, that that's a lot of dues that I'm
Mm.
sure have fallen into your couch, so to speak, and of which
Mm.
you're drawing and you will draw. Um, that must have
Recreating
been,
yourself again and again and again.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it probably started before you realized something was wrong, or
Yes.
how did you even
It
realize
came to
something
head when
was?
I was in Russia. We blame
Uh-huh.
everything on Russia anyway. So, so
Yeah.
it's true though. Um, yeah, it was just it, being black in America means that we don't race to the doctor in the hospital financially, especially as an artist. You're just trying to week get through and get by and do the best you can. So that's one of the reasons I did leave America and came to France because we have amazing healthcare here. Everybody has it. Oh my God, really? I can
Huh.
just go and be better. If I had hung out in the emergency room with no real good insurance, I would have been in the lobby so long they would have arrested me for a black man loitering in the room. I'd have been tased a couple of times. But fortunately, I'm here, and that must have been the reason because it made me reinvent myself, and teach
Yeah.
more and create other things. I mean, I've got a lot of beautiful things to share. So I
Yeah.
want to, when you almost die 3 times, it reminds you that, wait a minute, I got some stuff I need to share before I leave this place. I can't go, I'm not ready to go quite yet. There's some things I need to do. So that includes, I'm a lyricist first, or a songwriter first. So I have lyric book and paintings, a children's book. There's so many things that we needed to finish. And I think the COVID thing helped us to go, enough of this. What do you mean there's nothing for me to do? There's no gigs. Because we don't retire as artists. The phone just stops ringing one day.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh, okay. You know, yeah, right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least when you're on the road all the time, trying to just do what you
Yeah.
got to do and recreate every year, you can't. So
Yeah.
I'm happy and proud to be in a loving environment, and my family, my followers, fans. I hate to call them fans because there's this borderline. They're friends because I see my friends when I go to Vienna. They used to be fans, but they're friends. Because when you're doing something for as long as I have since 1978, and Sting and Stevie Wonder and all the other people I was able to find in numbers, the relationship is everything.
Yeah.
I don't remember how much I got paid. I remember the
Yeah.
people I met. I remember the beautiful places I was. Canals of Venice, singing instead of the guy. So I could take over for his shift so he could rest, and I would sing on the gondola. And then he explained to me that they only sing because they can't see the other boat coming. So they have
Oh.
to sing so they know he's coming. So I'm like, I never thought about that. I thought you were just trying to be romantic. He said, no, you don't. You only need to sing when you get to a crossroad, because you don't know what's over there. You can't see it. So I said, okay, I would love to do this job. Someday I'm going to just get a bunch of singers and we're going to come in and give you like a day off. And we're just going to, I don't want to have to be rowing, but still the concept of it would be fun. And I remember having lunches and meeting families and the birthdays of the promoters' kids, and that's a relationship that we have, and that continues. That's what I remember. The beautiful places and the beautiful people that took you in for the love of the music, not just because it's too hard if you're like, I'm a star and you pay me all this money. I fly in, I do my song, and I'm out. I was doing
Yeah.
workshops. I was staying there. I was invested in the community, and
Hmm.
all that still lives with me today. You know, Even my
Yeah.
students in Ukraine, as you saw in the clip you played, that's a Ukrainian shirt that I was wearing.
Oh.
You know,
Yeah.
traditional garment. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, but as artists, that's our job. If we don't know how we feel, how are we going to make
Yeah.
somebody else feel something? So
Yeah.
that's that search that we have to do. We got to figure out who we are so we know what we're trying to say and say it honestly because nobody wants to hear what you think they want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Um, let's see, what is, my friend Dan he's the researcher on this show. He's giving me an amazing clip of you and Lee Payne and a solo version of Ain't No Sunshine. Do you think we should listen to one of those?
I've heard him. I was there. With the tap dance, Lee Payne is a lead tap dancer at the time for a river dance. It was a
Oh,
production,
yeah.
and he was the only lone black artist in the whole thing. So we call him Black Leprechaun, basically. But he was so instead of taking a percussionist out, I took a tap dancer out. I said, it doesn't
Oh,
matter. I can sing with my hands. I can sing with the
yeah.
dripping of the water. It doesn't matter to me. You just take what you got and you make it work. So I would rather go out with a beautiful artist, and so we did several tours, years in and
Well,
out of
we
different
should
places.
watch a little of that. I'm gonna share the screen.
Love comes, then it goes, makes you blind and leaves you now without a clue. Still you hang on tight and play for captain as another ship goes down. Whoa, still you try. Over and over, whoa, you know better, but still you call. Dry your eyes once more, over and over. Yeah, you know better, baby. Ooh, you made a big mistake. You got the shit that you can't shake. Sometimes you say no, your heart beats yes, and your feet say come. Change right, the things you do before you know the love thing is happening to you. Say, whoa, whoa, still you try, oh, whoa, whoa, over and over, whoa, you know better, whoa, still you call, dry your eyes, once more, over and over, yeah, you know better, baby, whoa, 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 made a big mistake. You got the sick that you can't say. I never thought I'd fall in love again. Thought the feeling was over. My heart's been broken more than once, and I never ever dreamed. Oh yeah, that I could fall in love again. Again, no, again, again, sometimes we go on, never knowing the real meaning of the word love. Just as history, the captain goes down as another ship swoops into the sea. Whoa, whoa, still you try, whoa, whoa, over and over, whoa, you know better, whoa, still you call. So dry your eyes once more, over and over. Yeah, you know better, baby. Woo, woo, you made a big mistake. You got the sick that you can't shake. I never thought I'd fall in love again. Thought the feeling was over. My heart's been broken more than once, and I never ever dreamed, oh yeah, that I could fall in love again. I never thought I'd fall in love again. Thought the feeling was over. Oh, my heart's been broken more than once, and I never ever dreamed that I could fall in love again, fall in love again.
That is so cool. Wow. That is
That was
elegant.
in Luxembourg, of all places. Luxembourg, yeah.
Luxembourg.
Yeah, of all places. That's great. I hadn't seen that in years.
That was really cool. And is he Irish or American or?
No, he lives in just out in Worthing, close to Brighton on the beach, and he's
Oh,
in
okay.
UK. He's English.
He's English actually.
Yeah. Very nice. Beautiful artist. And what I did with him is from this point, I started putting triggers on the wood, so he could trigger other sounds, sound modules and stuff like that. So I could have him play steel drums and other things with his feet. So it became a really cool thing.
That's great. Let's see. Could you speak a little more? Something happened to the sound, but it might just be internet, or you might have touched something.
Uh-oh.
You're okay. Oh, you're fine. We heard like some echo for a while. That's okay. So I have two questions about that, and I know people are wondering because I always get this question. I have this group called Fish to Birds, which is, well, pre-pandemic, it was 7 of us improvising together. We'd worked for about 8 years together. And people always thought, wow, how long did it take to rehearse that one? It's like about
Never.
a second. Yeah. So my question is, were you and do you, but specifically in this one, were you improvising, or did you pull in other stuff that you had possibly, were familiar with?
Well, I write songs. I mean, that's a classic VINX song. So
Oh, okay.
it changes every day. I mean, like I said, it's just a bed. Depends on the audience, what I'm working with.
Oh,
If it's
okay.
just me and hands, or is it me and drums, or me and a piano? Is it a classical thing? Is it a samba group? Is it me and
Oh, okay.
reggae? It doesn't matter for that. The bed is
I
still the
see.
bed. What we do with it that's up to us, and that's where we
Okay,
get
because
the.
I thought, yeah, I thought I recognized it from the other clip that I played, and
No, there's a different song.
because I heard "I'll Never Be in Love Again" or something. I heard that
That's
part.
please. You heard "Please Come Back." Please
Yeah,
come back. Da-da-da. Never thought of love again.
that.
Please come back. Da-da-da. I'm sure you feel the same way I do. Please don't leave me. Yeah, I know it
Okay.
sounds like begging, but it's not. I adore you and I love you. I adore you and I want you, or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
So
but I understand.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
basically you're basically taking a song and
mm, yeah.
doing it.
I
Yeah.
might have done that out of nowhere, just like um, um, fly me to the moon, let me play among the stars. It doesn't matter, just the vibe. So I'm not
Yeah,
restricted to what was rehearsed. We go on
I
stage and
get
we
it.
make the music. Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, this week I saw a brilliant concert, duo concert with Dee Dee Bridgewater and
Mm.
the pianist Bill Charlap. That's what they did. They took the songs and then they went on a trip, man. And they,
Mm.
in a great duo, you can turn on a dime immediately, and
Mm-hmm.
they were turning on dimes all the time. And she was just incredible. And Bill is incredible too. I mean, it was really a fantastic concert. Just, makes you it. I always know when I am really enjoying something and I admire something because it makes me want to get up and sing. If I see something that I don't really like, I want to leave.
Well, I learned that from Taj Mahal, that you surround your people that are the spice that you need to make your gumbo. And you don't change the spice, you let them be the spice that they are. It's up to
Yeah.
me as the chef to determine what I'm supposed to do with that, right? So I did
Yeah.
this song called Somehow Did You Know? And it was, of course, I had to get back at Tosh, so I had him come in and he goes, "Well, what you want me to do?" I said, I want you to play what you want to play. I like you." So I turned it back on him, right? Like 20 years later, right? And so he, instead of playing guitar, he decided to whistle. I said, well, okay, that
Oh,
was great. And then Herbie Hancock, I said, well, let me whisper to you kind of what humming what I'm thinking I'm going to do. Da, 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 da. And so that's all I did. And then Bob Hirsch, who we didn't tell anybody, said I wanted to sound like we didn't rehearse it because we aren't rehearsing it. So you only get one take. There is no comeback and overdub. So, and then Branford came in. I said, Branford, are you sure you want to do this? He says, because he didn't ask what key it was. He didn't ask nothing. So I was like, wow, are you guys going to really try to do this? So, of course, we did it, and Branford doesn't come in. I'm like, oh, man, he's going to make us go back because he's not going to play because he's messing with me, right? So halfway at the bridge, then he comes in like we rehearsed this thing. He looks at my lips because they're large enough to see from the other side of the room, and he's playing like mimicking me as if like, and we just heard each other in a way. And when Herbie plays a chord, you lose your place. You just stop and go,
yeah.
really? I got all those options, So that was such a, and Dougal Chancellor was playing brushes on the same song. So that just, I'll never forget that. The freedom that you have with fluent artists. Who am I to tell Herbie what he's supposed to play? How rude would that be? Do I know more choices than he could show me? I don't think so. It's like when someone calls me for a percussion gig and I got to fly to Prague, and they said, yes, we were looking for like a triangle part on this. I'm like, you brought me all the way over here for a triangle part, and there's some things that you don't even know are possible. Let me show you some choices. And they always pick something else when what they thought they wanted because they didn't know the other stuff even existed,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I love that. And I was fortunate enough to have Stevie Wonder play on a song, a duet I did with Cassandra Wilson. And I was Stevie's fitness trainer when I first got to LA in 1983 because
yeah.
I was, so.
Yeah.
And I would walk in and he was on the exercise bike eating a bag of Chips Ahoy cookies, like you're killing me, man. You're killing me. What are you doing? Just, I'm getting ready for the workout. But put the cookies down, So I never told him I was an artist. I never told him I was a musician because I was his trainer. I didn't want to blur the lines. I was supposed to do this thing. And everybody else was coming to him with demos and trying to shove stuff down his throat. I didn't want to go that way, right?
Yeah.
I was being paid to do what I was good at the time, and a potential Olympic athlete, now trainer to the stars.
Yeah.
And back then it was called Matrix One. It was that same time the movie 10, the 10 Perfect was in the movie that they shot in our place. But when we asked him to do it, he says, "Well, I like the VINX the trainer." I said, "Yeah. Can you do this song?" He says, you didn't tell me you can sing. And I said, well, why am I going to tell you I can sing? Because I was telling you to not eat cookies. That was my focus, And so he listened to a song and he goes, "Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. I'll play on this song, but you're going to have to play on my record." And I'm like, well, let me think about it.
Yeah, right.
I said, let me think about it. So He had me play on Taboo to Love, which is
Oh,
one of his last CDs or albums. And I
yeah,
had him play for me and Cassandra Wilson and Karen Briggs, violinist, right?
yeah.
And so that's what he played on. And he says, "I'm going to play piano for you." He said he's never plays piano for anybody. I would be the first person he played piano for. So we
Oh,
went to Chick Corea's studio and played his Bosendorfer because
yeah,
uh,
yeah. That's a
so
beautiful.
that was an adventure. I was like, wow, really?
Yeah,
And it was great. It was great, and I really appreciate him. He gave me a stamp of approval, kind of like I can't believe you didn't tell me you could do all this. He says, how am I going to understand you as an artist and train you and motivate you if I don't know what you got to accomplish? You know, your breath has to be stronger than it is. Da 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 da. So I understand that because I too am an artist, and we've been friends ever since
yeah.
1983. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so these things that you're talking about with Cassandra and Herbie Hancock, et cetera,
Mm-hmm.
is this a record of yours, or is this something
It's
that
on
people can
hers
go
and
hear?
mine. Yeah. If you go to vinx.com, there's a Vinx Vault, which is all the stuff.
I'm
Because
gonna show
I
people.
don't do Spotify or none of that stuff. Because yeah, if
Yeah,
you want me, you come to me and you can get it like right there. It should say
yeah.
Vinx Vault somewhere. Vault store, yeah, Vinx Vault.
Vault store,
Yeah,
music,
yeah. So
music.
yeah, should say that. Yeah, music. And that's a list
Okay.
of a bun,
So,
everything, so, yeah,
and
deleted songs, content.
so, um, what you were just talking about with Herbie,
Mm,
uh, where is
that's
that
on
on a
here.
particular?
Yeah, that's on Rooms in My Father's House.
That's what the name
That's
of
with
the record.
Herbie Branford. Yeah, that's the CD. It was one that Sting. It's just with Sting's the label, which is perfect
I
because
see.
Sting said, um, if I say I'm producing it, nobody will bother you. And so I had total creative control because he was taking yoga, learning yoga while I was making the record. So I had total creative control of this record. So I called on my friend Cheryl Crow. At that time was my background singer for many of us because we all grew up together. Vonda Shepard, who was the piano
Oh
player,
yeah,
and Ally McBeal,
yeah,
I think it was. Michael Ruff. We were all in the same group. Phil Perry, all of us. We grew up in the Santa Monica at my place at that time was called
yeah,
At My
yeah,
Place. So
yeah,
there was
yeah,
Carl Anderson. There's a bunch of us that
yeah,
came up. Um, Richard Elliott, saxophone. So
yeah.
anyway, there's a bunch of us that came up together, and that's pretty much the beginning of smooth jazz also in that area. So my friends, the Yellow Jackets and Spiral
Yeah.
Jarreau, a lot of us were connected. My first record that I was on was Ernie Watts' Musicon. That was my
Oh,
first Grammy project that I actually, not that it was my Grammy, I was just on the project that got a Grammy. So it's difficult for me to hear other people say, "Yeah, Grammy winner or nominated." Like I can't hear none of that because I was there in it, and
yeah.
then my first song as a songwriter that I ever got recorded was Tom Jones.
Ah,
Tom Jones in 1988 heard me singing solo this song called Touch My Heart. And he came after and he had one tear in his left eye, he said. I have a tear in my left eye. You think it's possible that I could record this song? And I'm like, are you kidding me? Tom Jones? Yeah, sure. And I made the mistake of saying, I don't know many Englishmen. He says, I'm Welsh. And I was like, oh, that apparently that's not a good thing to say, but he was great. And then my father died at the same period, and he decided to take the song and give me money, and I give him the publishing of it, so I could go afford to go to my dad's funeral and all the stuff that
oh,
was involved and all that. So he was a he was a blessing to me in many ways. It was strange to have somebody else singing a song that was so personal. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you don't even know the girl. And he's on stage shaking his hips. And it was on a record called, what's the name? It had You Don't Have to Be Rich to just be my girl, a kiss.
Huh.
Be long in your kiss. I have it right here. Let me, Tom Jones.
And this was your first album? This, Tell My Rooms in My
Touch
Father's
My
House?
Heart. Yeah, that was my first record. And that was 99, something like that,
Oh,
91. That was my very first CD. And it was an all drum band. It was me, Bill Summers, Munyango Jackson,
uh-huh.
Angel Figueroa, um, um, Luis
Bill
Conte.
Summers.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like it was. I created the super band of percussionists, and we went on the road all over the world for 4 years, just as the VINX and the Barking Feet. So I got a chance to just, So every song we did was all we arranged. We arranged the percussion on it. So I would tune the drums depending on the songs, if it was samba, if it was this or that, if it was bata. So all these different things. It was the first time we really had African uh, djembes and drums in pop music, because my melodies were always
uh,
basically pop songs. They threw us in
yeah.
jazz because they didn't know what to call us, because we were more like world music before there was a category for that. So it was me, and at the same time, Zap Mama. We all were together in that same group of
Mm,
people.
mm,
And yeah, so the good thing about that is the most important thing in our business is the relationships that we build,
yeah.
because you don't know, there's no time limit on that stuff.
Yeah, there
There was
isn't.
like Sun 60 and even my friend Dave Russo, who was
Uh-huh.
in a band called, I think it was, they called it Sun 60. At the beginning it was called Far Cry, and then they changed it to Sun 60. Now he's doing all the music for um, Gotham, the TV series with the
Oh,
Batman when he was a
yeah.
kid,
Yeah.
and a bunch of other stuff. So now that's when you get called. When your friends grow up and they get a CEO or in charge of this or that, they remember the spices that they know they can't get from anywhere else. So that's when they call
Yeah.
me, and like I get called for that, for like Lion King.
Oh,
There's
cool.
no way I could have sent a song in and hope they didn't put me in the trash and listen to it
Yeah.
sooner or later. It was
Yeah.
because of the relationships that you develop and people you sang with. And when the artist comes to me, I said, I want you to play all the stuff no one else will let you play,
Yeah.
all the stuff you want to do that's right for this song. We play the music, we play the song.
That's
Don't
so
audition.
awesome. I have the storyteller, which has like also Mitchell Long, who's gonna play on a project
Mitchell,
with me soon.
you know
Yeah.
Mitchell. Well, let me tell you the story about Mitchell. You didn't know that
All right.
when I was doing the folk, I was doing not folk alliance, like some bluegrass folk festival in Boulder, Colorado, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now everybody else is bluegrass and hillbilly, and I'm this guy with a djembe, a big log between us, like a black man, only black man in the whole damn festival, like me, and I think maybe Vance Gilbert was the other one, my friend. But we went to lunch, and I passed this guy who was busking on the corner, playing his ass off, because he speaks Portuguese and was singing his Brazilian song. And I stopped. I said, does anybody else hear this guy? He's playing his ass off, and he's playing for quarters, and it was like ridiculous. So I stopped and I said, man, I love what you're playing. I started singing with him. And then I said, give me your number. You got a passport? He said, yeah, I got a passport. And he just got over some surgery for, I think it was not a liver, kidney, something he just gotten over, and he was in trouble. So I says, well, give me your number, because I'm going to take you out on the road with me. So I called him 2 days later, and I said, okay, I'm working out the stuff for this tour I'm doing. I'm going to Lugano, and I've got to go to Vienna, Bratislava, a bunch of Eastern stuff, right? And except for Italy, Lugano. And I said, "What is? Can you go out?" can you go on the road? Because I know working every day, busking. I said, what's it going to cost me? He says, well, I'm making about $62 a day right now. So I'm like, no, I can't go like that. I got you, man. I got you. I'll figure something out that you need, right? So, so we wrote a couple of songs together, and I took him on the road for 5 years.
Oh my
We worked
God.
for 5 years, and meanwhile, he started. I introduced him to everybody I could. I mean, and now he's out. He goes out now with Melody Gardot mostly,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I introduced him, and then he moved to L.A. and because we were working, it was great. So I'm so proud of him, and now he's with um what's her name? Chong,
I forget who he went out
his
with, but
daughter, Chong's well, anyway, I'm tired right now. Cheech and Chong's
oh,
daughter,
yeah.
who did the movie Fire, or the first.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Radon Chong, sorry,
Okay. Yeah.
and that's who he's with now. And but that's how he got started, and I introduced him to everything. We did shows with uh, Charlie Hayden. We did stuff with all the jazz festivals I took him on, and it was great. It was at one point we were just a trio, percussion, guitar, and voices, and he would play, detune the pandero, so he could play the drum set basically through that. So I'm so proud of him, and he's such a great gentleman and a great friend of mine, and we wrote some beautiful songs together. So the fact that you are going to work with him, that's my job is done. My job is done. I'm
Yeah.
proud of that.
I've known him for a long time, but I don't think we've ever worked together. I've always admired him. He's so
Mm,
musical and a really nice person. And
mm.
yeah, I have a known net that I'm gonna do a few gigs with and record with in a few weeks, and he's yeah. And also we're including an Armenian cellist who has been living in L.A. His name is Artyom, and
Artem.
but now he's moved back because I think he's tired of L.A. or America. But
It's
those two work
exhausting.
really
It's
well together.
exhausting. LA is
Yeah,
exhausting.
yeah.
That's why I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Oh, really?
Because I was on the tour so much, I was gone. So, like, why am I working so hard to come back and survive? Like, what's the
Yeah,
point of working so hard to just survive? So I said, you know what, I'm going to Santa Fe, because no one even knew I was gone. That's how much they missed me. So I was like, they just assumed I was on tour still. So I was in Santa
yeah,
Fe, New Mexico.
yeah.
Yeah. So one day I came home and said, okay, guys, um, I'm leaving in 2 weeks. Are you guys going to move out of my house that they've been in for the last 2 years and not paid anything? So I'm moving. What are you going to do? It was one of those situations where you get that call on tour and you go, hey, the cable's off. Could you pay the cable bill? So I haven't been home in 6 months. You guys can't pay anything. Pay the cable. Anyway, so I came home and I said, I'm out. I'm out. And I didn't come back until I met you.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? Oh.
When I returned to Los
Tell me
Angeles.
about that place that I sang at. Tell me about how that started. That you didn't live there, right?
No, no, no. That was down the street. That was on the
Okay.
Robertson-ish and Olympic, between
But it was
Olympic
a
and
house, right?
Pico. No, that was
It wasn't a house?
no,
Okay.
that was we call that East Beverly Hills, East Side.
Yeah, right.
It was the street. You cross the street, and it was like some kind of center. What is the Zen Center or whatever the Madonna was going to, and all that stuff over there, and all the
Oh,
schools. There's a Jewish community high school on the same street.
yeah.
And no, no, because I was living on Commodore Sloat, which is right behind, again, right there.
Yeah.
Um, uh, they call it Cathay Circle or something like that, Carthay Circle, something like that.
Okay.
It was our between Olympic and San Vicente or something like that, right in that
Okay.
little
Yeah,
like
yeah.
pocket by
Right.
the park
I
across
remember
from.
the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I
So
would
did
just
you
go. My studio was there, so I would go to there every day. I would go to work
I
there,
see.
and I was writing scripts. And you may have met Alonzo Bowden, who was at that time learning how to be a comedian. Now he's gone
Oh.
off and done all kind of amazing things. I'm sure you've heard of him. He
Hmm.
won
Yeah.
what's the comic show? Last Comic Standing or something like that.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
And he
Yep.
does the TV show, the radio show. Wait, well, don't tell me, or something like that. One of those NPR shows
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
So he's doing great, 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 and he's a spokesperson for the jazz cruises as well. So he's doing great.
Cool.
So it was a good
So
place to attract artists
that
to
was
come.
your
And
so you made that for your studio.
yes,
Is that
that
what
was
you
my
did,
studio
that place?
in my
Yeah.
rehearsal space.
And then you had live you had people come in and
Yeah,
perform, right? Like me.
yeah. Because
Yeah.
I rented the building next door, the room next door, and we
Okay.
carved a space in it. And because the studio was this side, but then the rehearsal space was that side, and it had like it held about 75 people, if I remember. 75.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
there was yeah.
yeah. And then I was doing some things with this
So long ago.
uh, Lily Lily Claire, which is an organization that works with Williams syndrome, the kids.
Okay.
So they
I
would
don't
come
know
in
that
and
syndrome.
yeah, it's they used to call it cocktail disease or something like that because the kids are so social, and but they didn't know the difference between the car being down the street or this close. Like, but they were very social. It's
Huh.
and then it was like you'd have to pour the Coke in the glass because they didn't understand that.
Oh.
How
Hmm.
far apart was that? How much it was? It was yeah.
Wow, interesting.
But I spent a lot of time in that.
Yeah. Um and let's see. Well, how long have you been working for Berkeley?
15 years. I stopped now once I moved to France.
Wow.
15 years. Roger Brown was a friend of mine, and he became the president of Berkeley. And he said, "I need you to come in and create a curriculum for me. I need some help. I don't know what to do." I'm like, "Wow."
Wow.
Well, I've been
Now,
doing Soul
curriculum
Kitchen.
for what? For just vocal department or
I
is
did
was
Artists Within. So I would come every summer, and I would do, like I said, teach musicians how to be artists between the lines, not the what you
right.
see. I had to help them find themselves and coax them to bring that out. Because a lot of times he asked me, he says, "What's the deal with Berkeley students? What are you hearing on the street? What's our reputation?" I said, "You want to know the truth, or you want me to give you one of those kind of answers?" He says, "No, I'm going to
Right.
hire you. That's already done." I says, "Well, let me tell you. First off, $273,000, that's a lot of bar gigs to pay, when you come out of school. That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the thing I can tell you mostly is you get these great musicians that can play anything, write anything, arrange anything, do all this stuff, but you didn't teach them how to be artists. So when they get out of school, they're going to end up getting a gig with someone who didn't even go to school, but she's pretty and she's got a whatever hit record, and they're the music director, and they're going to do all this stuff, and it's shameful that they're the best thing in the group that they're working for. So it's kind of like we got to work hard to get Guy Mintus and some of these artists that are amazing, like um, Terry Lee Carrington's program, things like that, where we could teach these artists how to be artists because they come in thinking they have to do things right. They have to play what Chick Corea played. No, I want to know what you would play.
Right.
So a lot of times that's also our educational problem is that we don't know how to grade that. If I go to math class and they go say, "What's the answer?" Well, Here's my answer. Boom. That's the right answer. That doesn't count. I want to know how you got it. Did you do it this way? You have to learn it this way, as opposed
Yeah.
to applauding me for coming up with my own system that gave them the right answer. That should be worth
Yeah.
something. As an artist, it's valuable. But how do you grade that if you're a teacher? So they want you to do this and that. He can read, he can sight read, he can do that, he can do this. His pitch was,
Yeah.
no, he hit this, but Dad, you didn't hear how he fixed it. You didn't.
Yeah.
It's just a language. It's just a
Yeah.
language. You speak English. That's your first language, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, excuse my language, but today you said 6 fucked up things today in English. Right? Now you
Yeah.
rephrased them. You said them a different way. Oh, let me rephrase that. Let me think. Okay. Depending on who you're talking to, you said it to address them.
Yeah.
And you, from your whole pool of choices, you did that. Now you
Yeah.
didn't beat yourself up because I didn't get that perfectly. No. And it's just a language. Music is, to me, just a language. And so if you got something to say, you got to find your own way to say it. Now, if you're only doing this because theory says I have to play this and the jazz chord is that, or it's not going to get past the jazz police for me to get credit for it, or it's who are you? If you sound like all you did was stay in a rehearsal room your whole life and you come on stage, I didn't hear you. I heard you tell
Yeah.
me what you think I want to hear.
Yeah.
That's the problem if you've been to every jazz festival in the world like I have. The people that stay with you, they come to you because they can only get you from you. The only strength we have is ourselves. That's the best thing we can be. I can be a better VINX than anybody else could because I know myself better than anybody else. I'm never going to be the prettiest. There's always going to be a better singer. There's going to be somebody with tighter abs than me. I used to have a 6-pack, but now I got a keg, but it's still, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we have that we can do better than anybody else is have
Yeah.
our own process, our own blend, our own information that came in. We did something different with it. And if we can't do that, we don't stand a chance. We're doing karaoke, somebody else's version of something that we thought was cool. So as an artist, it's our responsibility to find those things that are unique to us. And only we know that. And our listeners will know it when they hear it. Here's an example for you. Basketball. Michael Jordan. Dr. J. They all got the same basketball, right? They all
Yeah.
got the same rules of the game. They recreated what they could do with themselves with that basketball, with those rules, what they could do with what they had. They're artists. There are certain architects that are artists. There are painters that are artists that don't look like anybody else. You can't get it from anybody else but them. If we can do that as artists, then we have a career. Even if the chef doesn't always need you. Let's say you're celery salt. That's the last thing you want to be. Damn, I'm celery salt. I was hoping I was pepper or salt so I could get the big money. No, I'm salt. Okay. But the great chef knows when he needs you. And they got to come to you to get that because that's who you are. I hate it when I have an artist that tells me, yeah, I'm salsa, I'm picante, I'm hot, cayenne pepper. And you get him and he's like, oh, put him in your dish. And you're like, man, he's nutmeg. That is not what I thought I was putting in there, It's exactly the same thing. A connoisseur, a gourmet artist has its own value. Everybody's not supposed to need it all the time. But when you do need it, you know where to go to get it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So I don't mind that everybody is not supposed to get me. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Okay with that. My dad said, problem with being special is that only special people get you, and there's not a whole lot of them. So you got to live with that. You get to choose, am I a gourmet restaurant or am I fast food?
Yeah.
Your choice. Both are necessary.
Yeah. Yeah. I love hearing this. This is so good. It's what I feel people need this desperately, you know. I mean, you see it all the time when you're a teacher, right? You see students come but not only students, you know, people,
Right.
my
Teachers
peers and
too.
me, and, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, we just, I mean, because you know, it's something that you have to be vigilant. I love that word, vigilant, because
Yeah.
it just means you're always there. You got to be always there, and there meaning whatever, but it could be present, always present.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
always full of joy. Even if you're singing a sad song, you're still full of
Right.
joy for creating it. You know, but that's not. As my teacher used to say, you know, you can't lie down on the ground and be
Right.
relaxed. You have to be relaxed sitting up. You know,
But you
so
also can't
that's the
teach every
vigilance.
artist the same lesson plan because each artist is different. Each artist
Totally.
got a different source of strength and a different power, a piece of pie missing that the other guy didn't have missing. So the teacher has to
Absolutely.
be an expert at identifying how to trick you into discovering for yourself so you own it.
Yeah,
That is not easy to do.
absolutely. Yeah. I was talking yesterday with a really lovely person on the show, Lynn Colbert Jones, who's been a composer for a long time. She's really lovely. And we were talking about that actually. You know, it's like you have to, it's kind of an empathy you have to have for the person you're communicating with. So you're not forcing them into thinking a certain way. You're
Hmm.
actually getting to understand how they view what the information is and try and give them something that they can
Right.
digest, right?
You
And
can't help them till you
absorb.
know them.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so, I mean, it sounds like as you were coming up, you had a real, you had an understanding of that from the beginning because of your upbringing. Um, would you say that that was true? Would you say like you just always understood that, or was there a pivot point for you? I mean, you mentioned like an epiphany you had, like for instance when you were working with Taj Mahal. So of
It
course
was
there were
before that.
epiphanies on the way.
It was
Yeah.
before that. I must tell you that as an athlete, as a champion,
Mm.
it was very important for me when I needed myself most to go inside of myself and stir around all the stuff, good and bad energies, whatever I had that I could grab a hold of. Like the time they wouldn't let me pick up the daughter because I was black and I had to go to the back door because they thought I was a delivery guy. I said, "No, I'm here to get your daughter. We're going skating. You're never going out with my daughter's not leaving this house, blah, blah, blah." And so I had
Right.
a lot of those kind of situations being the only black guy in a white suburban neighborhood in Kansas City. So I had all this stuff that I could go in and get and release it physically. That's like that's like a boost of energy that, oh, what I'm going to do with this anger. Here, let me release it physically. So I knew when to release it. Now the beautiful thing about that and the connection to an artist is I knew how to go in and get my stuff and remember it and release it physically. As an artist, the process of going in was the same. I could go back and remember this and that. Instead of releasing it physically, all I had to do was describe it. But the process was the same. And that's why artists and athletes and of any kind understand the process of going inside to find out what you got to work with. It's like open your pantry of experiences or spices and see what you got to cook with. Here's my spices, here's my ingredients. I got to feed how many people? Okay, I can do this because you know what you got in storage.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if you can access that, everybody you ever heard sing, that's in your library of experiences. What you do with it is up to you.
Yeah.
But if you go, oh, Sarah Vaughan, no, I need breath. I need okay, I'm gonna be Stacy Kent because I don't need to air this out because I'm like I'm just gonna whisper everything today, you know. Okay, then I'm gonna, then I remember the vibrato control of this, and let me go to Flora Purium, and I got no boundaries. It's lawless. You just, So we have all that information from our influences. That doesn't mean we have to be them. We just have to remember what we put in our credit accounts from their knowledge. And then we turn that into us. It comes out as us. Every story somebody told you that you didn't live through it, but you lived through their story. So that's yours now. So you can release that stuff physically. As a lawyer, the same thing. Let me go back to how I can explain this to somebody in that jury when I was this age or I was in that situation. They can go back and take all the information they got, not just what's in the book. You can't sing a life unless you live it. So every experience they ever had was necessary. Students are always telling me, man, I'm messing up because I have to work, and I've been working at the restaurant, and I'm not doing music full time. I said, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Every day is music for you. Every time you take an order, you're in input mode. You're taking all this information in, these great conversations. One of those lines somebody said to you is going to end up being a hook in your song, for all you know. You don't know that. So you take it in, you turn it into music. You're always a musician. You're always an artist. It's what you do with that information, how you decorate that bed defines who you are as an artist.
Yeah, it's great. So I meet with these people on Mondays, and we have discussions about this stuff and more. It's a mixture of classical and jazz people. But I think we were talking yesterday about, let's see, it was how do you how do you bridge the gap of let's see, oh gosh, it's a little beyond my mind, but it's basically about what you were just talking about. But how do you actually, I remember my friend who was one of my Fish to Birds people, Ashley Marr, she teaches some improv classes. And she was just curious, she's really good at posing questions and stuff, but she brought up, how do you teach somebody to, I guess, improvise freely, like without thinking, basically without thinking. And one of the other people in this group is Stephen Nachmanovich, who, I don't know if you ever read that Free Play book years ago, Free Play, improvisation in life and the arts. Anyway, he's really good. He's an improvisational violinist. And so we had some really good discussions about that. Do you have any idea of how to get people out of their heads and into motion?
Sure, of course. First thing one of many things, the first one I would say is turn off the sound of the TV. Just watch it and sing what you see. If it's a love scene on the beach, walking, just sing it, whistle it, hum it, whatever. Don't worry about the lyric. Just sing the feeling of it. If it's a chase scene, sing it. If it's a fight, okay, then you sing it. You just create the soundtrack to that moment you see. You don't have time to think about it or prepare it because you don't know the show. You don't know what's next anyway. So you just be there and you react, and you will trick yourself into being, I didn't know I could go there, but for some reason I went there. It just, the sun made me sing this lullaby that was in me, or this baby. That's my go to sleep lullaby out of nowhere. I didn't plan it. You can't plan magic. You just got to be able to recognize it when it happens. Now, for me, I studied the other instruments. If I'm going to scat and go like that, I would just, I would So I would study the instruments, and for me, if I was going to scat, okay, I'm feeling like this, or maybe I'm going to go reggae, maybe I'm going to go Spanish, flamenco, or maybe so for me, everything is in there as choices. It's just spices. You get to choose. If it's going to be a guitar, then I can do that too. If I want to go heavy, if I wanted to, I'm sorry.
But how do you not think is
If I
the
want to go
question?
heavy metal, you don't think. What do you mean? How you think? You listen to the question. You can't answer the question until until you hear the question. What are you talking about? You're fluent. Did you plan everything you were going to say today? No.
Oh
You
yeah, I
didn't.
had it all written down.
Had it written down. You pull it out, and somebody, yes, okay. Uber
No,
Eats.
I
You said, no, I'm going to want this, and I need you to toast that lightly on the side, and you don't know until you're in the situation. So I listen to everything, and if I want to sing it and become that, then I can.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
Well, it does. It does. I mean, like I said, we discuss a lot of different things. So that was a question that was posed. It was like in a class of students, how do you encourage people not to think and to actually act without thinking? I mean, I really don't know the answer. Of course, there's suggestions and,
So just
things
tell
that
them what
work.
I told you. Tell them what I told you. Can you sing
Yeah, well,
everything you can think?
yeah. To put it in a nutshell, it's called focus. What do you focus on? Like that's what you just said. You said
What do you
you
want to say?
focus on what can you do? Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, that's for I think that's a life journey of being able to do that. And
in your next class,
or
have somebody say something. Oh, was that me? Sorry. Next class, have somebody play something and you answer it. And then they talk to somebody else and musically they answer it. And just have a
yeah,
conversation. Yeah, sabele senuane este mundo ne. Sabon sa sana, huh? Sa
la la
gahan
la.
teta, and you
Oh,
don't even think about it. Like, for
yeah,
instance, one word is all you need.
yeah,
When you have your next class, just go, I need you guys the whole song is going to be one word. And we're going to use this word to get your point across. And you go, dude, dude, dude. Oh, dude. It's the same word. It doesn't matter what the word is. What are you trying to get your point across? It could be the
that's
same
cool.
note, long, short, staccato, whatever it is.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
what you do with it is the point.
yeah.
Dude,
Nice,
dude.
dude.
Mm.
uh, um, do you call? Just curious. Do you call your own music any style? Or not. I'm sure not.
Yeah,
But
sure I
like
do. It's called
you do.
VINX.
Oh,
As VINX
okay.
as possible. Yeah, that's what.
What are you doing lately? Do you always write?
Oh, yeah. For film, for TV, for songs, for duets. One of my favorite people to write with is Brenda Russell. Got
Oh,
songs with
cool.
Will Downing and blah, blah, blah. I just do what I do. And I try to create what I'm thinking or what I'm feeling, the soundtrack for some moment in my head. And you do
Yeah.
that. And then you figure out what the destination is. You figure out what to do with it. You don't have to go, I'm writing specifically for this. I don't, I just keep writing. I think I have a thing called Groove Exotica, which is a bunch of grooves. I said, let me just get some, I'm so tired of producers saying, yeah, I'm a producer. I make beats. It's like, what? Wait, hold on. Do you play, what instrument do you play? I don't know. I work the computer. I get somebody else's beats and I put them together. So, okay, well, hold on. We have a different term for producer than the new kids today have. So I made this project with just organic grooves. It was perfect for like a National Geographic, something like naked on the Serengeti, you will find the wildebeest at the water. And then you've got all these grooves going on behind it, stuff that you can't get anywhere. And nobody else could make it if they're not a percussionist. They wouldn't even know where to begin. They would just take something that existed and stamp it in there. So there's all kinds of stuff I do. And I do a lot of these retreats and at the vineyards when the people come and we write songs together and we're inspired by a painter and we do all kinds of different things. And you'll see that on the creativity workshop thing. If you have to post anything, post that because our next one's going to be in France at the studio you saw me singing in.
Let's go look at that just so I can really do post it. Yeah.
You go to workshops
There's
and
a
it's a
singer
second
that I'm
one.
trying to think of. Okay. Let's see. This is you and workshops at the workshops, right?
You go to the second one. Yeah. You want the second one. That's it. There you go. So everybody, it's at a studio. All the rooms are already wired to the main room. So it's living quarters and chefs and everything we need is all there. So it's kind of a grown folk slumber party with all these different artists working together and creating and recording. And, one of them might be a poet, but sometimes poetry doesn't sing well. So we all work together and do some amazing stuff. And I have some artists, some filmmakers coming to explain to us what they need for their scene so we can create music for them. Okay, this is what I see in this scene. So they have to learn how to ask us for what they need instead of they write, I need a kind of a exciting jazz. Like that's not telling me enough. If I see it, then I'll know better. And vice versa. It also teaches the musician how to translate what they're asking. So we're doing that the second week of the 2-week workshop, as you'll see.
So
it's,
is this I'm sorry, is it 2 sessions together or you buy one session or
you
you buy
can do
another?
one, or you can do the second one, or you can do them both.
So, and the registration price, is that for one session
That's
per
for 1 week,
1,500
for a whole
one
week.
week?
Feed, food, and studio time,
Yeah,
and
that's
and my
amazing price.
direction. I had to make it cheap as I could for the artists because they're the ones that need it most, and those are the ones that nobody's been working for 2 years for the most part. So I
What
wanted to
kind
do
of,
my part.
I'm curious, do you get what kind of levels, like beginners, professionals? What kind of
It's
people
all
come
kind
in?
of levels. It's from Michelin Cello to some guy who's just starting. But we need the kid who's just starting because he reminds us of why we started.
Yeah.
His energy is such that, oh God, I remember. I forgot about that part. It's fun again. It's da da da. And it reminds you. And then the other side, we're also mentors for that. And the ones in the middle, and some are short storytellers. That's all we need. Tell us the story. One of them is we have great painters that come, and we'll look at the painting, and everybody looks at that source of inspiration and go, okay, everybody writes a song about this painting, and we see it so differently than they painted it. And one of the things we're going to create is a gallery showing where you go to the gallery or online and you look at the painting, and now suddenly you hear 3 different versions or 4 different versions of a song about that painting. Now you're looking at the painting differently than you do if you go to a gallery. 10 seconds, didn't get it next. But if you got to listen to a song and it relates to that, the guy in the back that's not in the front, then the next thing you know, you connect it both ways.
Yeah.
So we like to take different artists and put them together because the source of creativity is the same. The inspiration point is the same. So we need to appreciate how each other works. And the painter shows us how to stack and create climaxes and energy and all that. We all do the same thing.
Sounds like it sounds like if you go, I can imagine going to the first session and then really wanting to stay for the second session.
Yeah, well, we
Yeah.
have a way to do that, and there's Airbnbs as well. If we're full up already in the facility, then there's
Yeah.
other ways to do that. and we
Oh,
expect
that's
that too,
cool.
because we have some people dropping in and out. Hopefully Darius Rucker will show up. So we could have some guest drop-ins for clinics and things like that. So,
Very appealing, I'll tell you.
but when you look at the place, you're gonna freak out. You're
Yeah.
gonna like, oh my God, I gotta go, I wanna go. Oh.
I already want to go.
They got a wine. They got a wine sponsor. I gotta go.
It's really not very expensive
No,
for
not
that.
at all. And they're giving me a
Really?
hard time about that. But that's not. I love my craft. I'm standing on the front line for my craft
Yeah.
of independent artist, and I'm gonna do everything I can to leave what was gifted to me. From
Yeah.
Al
Is
Jarreau's and
there
all the people.
is there a limit for the number of people that you accept for each week?
The limit is 30 people. So
Okay.
I'm trying to keep it small because it's got to
Yeah.
be intimate. I mean, that's all. It's got to be a
Yeah.
safe zone. And there
Yeah.
are some people who are not artists that want to come, and I told them they're necessary because we need a mirror. Some of other obscure opinion. Did we get our point across? Okay,
Mm.
maybe they're great listeners. They don't. That's we need both. It's like that mirror at your door. As you leave,
Yeah.
you check in that last look. Like, okay, all right, I'm all right. Then
Yeah.
you're okay. Then you can get a sense of communication, and we need that. So we have a lot of people that, and there's also going to be filmmakers, and we're going to try to get as much of the content as we can and turn it into all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. Don't be surprised if I email you a deposit.
You would be
It
so
sounds
welcome
fabulous.
because I would have you.
My
You would have your own. Like we got a 3-hour session. You're gonna take us through whatever you think is necessary and beautiful that you can explore and teach us all that knowledge you have because you're gonna want to be a mentor because you love this craft too, or you wouldn't be on here right now doing what you're doing. Because I'm doing it for pretty much no money. That's why it's so cheap. Because I think
Yeah.
it's important that we leave a little something that we can for those people.
Yeah.
If we don't do it, we can't count on the
Yeah.
lawyers and the accountants because they clearly don't care about the art part.
Clearly.
So, that's on us.
Are you
It's our
do
responsibility.
you know because you were in Boston so long, do you know Bob Moses?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, he's a friend of mine, and I interviewed him, and he actually recently moved to Memphis. Um, he finally had it with
Had to
Boston.
go. You got to go. I'm not shoveling anything. I live on the Côte d'Azur. I ain't
Yeah,
shoveling nothing. No more.
but he's so cool. I mean, I've been an admirer of his since I was at Berkeley in college, and kind of like Weather Report. That this space, but tied together, but individual people doing anything you want, but as long as it's tied together. But yeah, he also was sending out like these kind of pads that he had created, and then invited you to
Nice,
add
nice.
into it,
And
and
fur chord changes. Nice.
yeah, yeah. And so
Yeah.
he's a really cool guy. He's got a really great perspective.
Did you have Bob Shepard on your show?
I did.
Because we were in Russia together,
Oh,
and you made me think of him for some reason. I was like, I think was Bob on your show? Because I
he's
try to
also
watch your
in
show.
this recording project coming up.
Nice, nice. He's such a
Yeah,
great gentleman, great guy. We had a
he's
blast.
great.
We were in the
Yeah.
darkest, deepest part of Russia, and it was like, what are you doing here, man? There's a lot of caviar to eat, we had a good time. We had a good time with a big band
Oh,
or
good.
whatever. I think.
I'll have a lot to talk about with these guys when I see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting. Yeah, Bob Shepard was really fun to talk to.
Nice.
A lot of these people I've known for years, but I've never sat down for 2 hours with them and, really talked. And it was great to talk with him. He had a lot of great things to say, good perspectives. Yeah, and,
And you got to get Greg Poirier on there. You got to find him.
I had Greg on.
Oh, you did?
Yep.
I missed
And
that.
I also, yeah, I had Flora Puriem on.
Nice. Can I go back
Yeah,
to look at these?
yes, you can. There's an archive.
Archive. Okay.
Yeah, it's, if you go to my website, to this show, you'll see the archive link.
Okay.
But I have to move the archive. I think I have to move it over to YouTube. You can see them on YouTube anyway, but there's a way to do it because Dropbox, I didn't realize, but Dropbox only allows you to have a certain number of people downloading.
My
And,
manager again calling.
oh, I'm sorry. I won't keep you much longer.
No, that's okay.
But yeah, so
I will
I
call
was
you back,
kinda-
Jules. I'm in an interview right now. So just call right back. Okay.
So yeah, but anyway, so I'm going to do that. But you can still go to the archives and see the list of people, and
Okay.
yeah, your number 500 410.
410. Wow, that's my new number. That's the area code for Baltimore, I think. Is it a 410 or is it 401? I don't know. I'm going to go look.
That's funny.
All right.
Oh, my friend is asking. He said he was listening while he was driving. He wants to know the cost of the retreat. You can go there. I posted it, but the retreat itself is about $1,500, right?
Yeah, that's everything. That's the room,
Everything
food, studio.
except for the airfare.
To get there, right,
Roland. Yeah, Roland, let's go. And the airfare, that looks kind of cheap, $800.
Yeah, it is. And well, we're hoping you get it before the gas prices jack up here coming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But and then you can swing down to Barcelona if you want, or go to Monte Carlo a little bit. You can do what you want to do.
It's pretty
Enjoy
awesome.
yourself.
I'm going to talk to my husband.
Bring
Honey?
him too.
Yeah. Wow,
He
that
can
would
go
really.
fishing. He can go to the wine tasting the whole time. He'll be great.
Here's the real question for him. Can he go metal detecting? That's the real
Yes,
question.
actually, you can because it's a
Really?
medieval region. Yeah, oh yeah, that would be great.
I'm sorry, you're sounding like an electric guitar. So say that one more time.
Yeah, he can. Yes, he could. He can. I sound like an electric guitar.
Yeah. Not now, but you did just before.
I probably stepped on the pedal.
Oh.
Yeah, I probably stepped on my pedal by accident. Yeah, he can, because it's a medieval region is where the troubadour started. This is a region like I'm talking about medieval, old, like my house was the 12th century house at the time in my village. That was 12th century. That's a lot of work. So I was afraid to break the walls down because I might unleash the Black Plague or something that's been hidden for. Anyway, that's another conversation. But there's a lot to do. There's a lot for him to go and investigate. He'll probably find some kind of arrow or something. Who knows? I mean,
Yeah, he
money.
goes to England like maybe once a year. He goes to England with a few people, and they go to the let's see, southeast part, and that was where Rome had its headquarters. So they find it's really pretty cool. They find incredibly ancient stuff, and England has this, when you find stuff, you have to show the I forget who it is, but it's a department of the government. You have to leave it with them, and they have to decide if it's treasure, and if it is treasure, they buy it from you, and if it's not treasure, you can have it to take back. But
How much do they give you for it? Depending on what it
not
is.
as much as like you could get from somebody else, but it's not terrible, but not fabulous either.
Do they go through your baggage when you check your bags? Do they go like, what's
They
this?
don't, but
What's this
you
coin
really.
here?
Yeah, you really have to you really have to decide whether or not you're going to take that chance, because if you do get caught, it's not good.
Well, I'll tell you what you do is you follow me because I'm always randomly selected. So if you get behind me, you'll just walk right through it. You'll come here and they'll drag me to the side and you can bring whatever you want through and it's not going to be any problem.
Oh my God.
Yeah. How's it random if it's every time? I'm working on
Yeah,
it.
I don't know.
Mm.
Gosh. Um, so, gee, it's really nice of you to give me 2 hours because
Has
two
it been
hours
that
is
long?
like
I
a
would have
month.
been long gone if I'd known it was that long. I'm sorry.
It has
That's
been
why
just
she's
about
calling
two
me.
hours. Yeah, no, and I really thank you a lot. I'll let you go, and
No, it's my
uh,
pleasure. I love what
it's
you do, what you're
so much
doing,
fun.
all the people you help, and just expose different ways of looking at things because none of us are the same. None of us can do this alone. And there's pieces of information. Some of it lands, some of it you won't process for 5 years, and you go, ah, duh. So I appreciate you for what you're doing. Even though I'm number 410, yeah.
I tried to get you to be at least 300, but took a while.
No, I love it. I love it. I'm glad I'm here.
Thank
I'm
you,
glad I'm here.
Vinx. You're
You
really,
too.
it's just so, so, so nice to talk to you. I feel my whole body and soul feels full. So thank you
Mm.
so much.
Thank you. You take care of yourself.
And I really do hope to see you.
Yes,
I
you got to
really
do
do.
it. I would love it, and I'll carve you out a special whatever, because you're loaded with all kind of information and insight that would go wasted if you didn't
Well,
share it.
I'm gonna go talk to my husband. It'll take a few days to. I've learned I tell my husband an idea, and
Mm,
then it sits there for a minute, and he has
mm.
to kind of deal with it. And then at the end, he usually acquiesces, but it takes me a minute.
You're hilarious. All right, dear. You stay safe, stay
Thank you
sane,
so much.
and stay in
Thanks, you
touch.
too.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, darling.
And you can leave, and I'm just going to hang out online. So
Well, you're just
thanks,
gonna
Vince.
hang out. Okay.
I
I'll
know
be
I
in
have a few
too.
more things to say, but you can push leave.
Oh, that's so rude. I'm gonna just quickly, gently push leave here. Wait, is that possible? Uh,
Bye.
ciao. Oh, where is it? There it is.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye. Ciao. Au revoir. Wow. Well, that was so cool. I'm glad I pushed through to have him back on, because the last time we we kind of missed our boats went by in the middle of the night. Um, I really want to go. Wow. I got to get fish to birds to go. That'd be really fun. So um, tomorrow I have a Canadian piano player, life coach named Paul Toby. Looking forward to speaking with him. And then Thursday through Saturday, I have my archives. Thursday is Peter Eldridge, one of the co-founders of the New York Voices, and he's a really good writer and singer. And Friday, Kiki Wow, also a writer, singer, kind of in the singer-songwriter genre. Um, and and she's a little bit more in the kind of rock area, acoustic rock. And then she's also a real creator of venues and events. And then Saturday, Mark Jordan, who was one of my first more impressive people to me. He is a big songwriter, singer, guitar player, artist who lives in Canada and who's written for Rod Stewart and also written for the Manhattan Transfer. His songs to me are like Bonnie Raitt songs, but his singing is like, he's kind of like a jazz singer. His phrasing, he's really good. So Mark Jordan is Saturday. Sunday, Janice Siegel, who is one of the co-founders of the Manhattan Transfer. Very creative, talented person. No, she's not related to me. I've had that over the years. Yeah, and then next week, just putting it out there, I was going to have Mary Stallings, but we had to postpone her. Gerald Clayton is going to be on Tuesday. He's one of the top jazz piano players on the planet right now. And Paul Carmen is going to be on Wednesday. He is a great educator, sax player, composer. He works up in Idlewild here. Also, if you're in Los Angeles, I am going to be performing on Thursday in Canoga Park. Now, that is not your entertainment capital of LA, but it's had this club. I guess it's called a club. It's really a bar. And they've had entertainment jazz there for years, like really years. Used to be straight ahead players, and now it's kind of a mix. These guys play 2 nights a week, and Tuesdays and Thursdays they have guest artists, and so that's what I am. Thursday, March 24th, 8:30 to 11:30. You can find this on my website. Also, I just want to throw out that Friday is a charity event for the Ukraine at the Skirball. This woman from San Francisco who has a nonprofit called Jazz at the Ballroom is making 3 charity events, and one in San Francisco, one in LA, and one in New York. And she knows a lot of really good people. And this charity event has this famous Polish piano player whose name I'm not going to attempt, and Pasquale Grazzo on guitar, a genius guitar player, and Samara Joy, this 22-year-old lovely freak of nature, as I say, jazz singer. So that's going to be this Friday in LA at the Skirball Museum. And again, you can find the information on my site. Also, I think this weekend, I'm not sure yet because it's a little early in the week, but as some of you know, Barbara Morrison, who was like the hero singer, jazz and blues singer and creator and educator, she passed away this week suddenly. And so there's a group of us who are gathering together all the resources needed for, there will be a viewing of her body probably on Saturday. And I'm not sure when the memorial would be. Could be Sunday. I don't know. So keep an ear out, and also you can find you'll be able to find that on my website, and I'll publicize it as well. But it's probably going to come up pretty fast. So that's it for now. I really appreciate you being here. Really appreciate VINX. Just so I feel really full from talking to him. I haven't seen him for a long, long time. So I'm going to go listen to some VINX or go buy some of his stuff. That's what I'm going to do. Okay. Goodbye, my friends. See you again.